Most people are not sure why homelessness occurs. The reason that homelessness occurs comes from a lot of situations. Loss, troubled marriages, difficult situations, loss of finances, cybercrime on a person's life, identity theft, you name it. But the reality is that people in homelessness have a struggle that's sort of profound. They have no place to sleep, and they have no place to get food. Many of the places that provide food are only open once a week or once a month. Many of the places that are pantries are literally only open twice a month. A person that's truly homeless can't carry all that food with them. They have no refrigerator. They have no stove. They have no way to keep items from not being bug infested. A truly homeless person literally has no place to sleep that's not within the elements of the world. A truly homeless person has to eat from a can if they're going to carry anything with them, because it's the only way to produce real nutrition. Canned foods such as canned chicken, which is a good protein, or canned meat such as a Spam, or even those little Vienna sausages are a good thing for any person, any situation in life. To be kept in a car, to be kept literally in a house, or to be kept in a synagogue or church that wants to have an inexpensive food pantry for that emergency situation when that homeless person goes to God, looking for God through Christians in the land. Churches that have no little inexpensive pantry are really doing a disservice to the Lord. It's not hard, it's not expensive to have literally cans of fruit juices and cans of food that a homeless person doesn't need a stove or a refrigerator for in order to enjoy. Canned spaghettis or cans, better yet, meat and pasta can be purchased from a Walmart or a Kroger in our communities at literally 68 cents a can. Other things might be a little bit more expensive, but the Dollar General has some amazing foods in a can. You also might look at how the cans have self-opening capabilities, or you might have some people who lovingly contribute a few can openers to the pantry just in case a person walks in and doesn't have one. Cans that don't have self-opening covers are a little safer, perhaps, than those that have been resealed. I don't know. But in life, you've got a moment of time to make a difference for someone, and your unwillingness to get in your car and drive over to a store to buy a few canned goods of good solid protein, good solid fruits such as mandarin oranges, which are easy for most people to eat. Pineapple might cause some reflux problems with people, but openly canned pears and apricots are sometimes difficult because of the high level of sugar in the syrup for people to handle when they're homeless. But if you think about the simplicity of collecting canned proteins to make sure that a person can eat solid food and have good solid defecation and other things and good health care with those foods being gifted are really important. A lot of people will contribute cans of tomato paste and tomatoes, etc., but those are things you have to stew. And if you're homeless, only if you're camping out somewhere on a campground can you really produce a fire. We don't really know what the laws are about just pitching up a fire in a public place. At the same time, campgrounds are not cheap. They cost between $20 to $40 per night, and a homeless person who has no job, who's trying to find a work, doesn't always have the ability to do that. They also don't have really safe showers. The last place I visited with someone who thought I could stay at a campground didn't recognize how unsafe it is for a single person to be at a campground in a tent. There's no protection from the larger groups that come in, where there are vile people who just want to piss around in someone's life because they've got money and wealth and the other person doesn't. People use other people as a game. It's immoral. The Lord will take any of those people playing in a person's life as if it's a game to hell. There will be no way out for them, and openly those who lie, steal, and cheat from what the Lord has provided to an individual will also go to hell. You see, I can be a pastor and talk to you about the fire and brimstone we learned as children. But for some reason, men and women in their older ages, between, let's say, 50 to 80 or 90, sort of forget the laws of the Lord. that the Lord is the Lord of all, that the Lord plans lives, that people who get in and monkey around with someone else's life as if they've got a better plan than God have violated God's highest, most sacred passage. That He is the one in charge of life, not you. And the taking of a life through the destruction of the soul is a vile act. The taking of property from a human being that the Lord has given to that child of His through His way of allowing them to produce a soul, to produce income, to produce revenue, to produce a business, however they manage to produce those things for themselves through relationships or through travels or through simply wanting to decorate their home was a gift from God, not something that you have any right to put your hands on, to get into, to take, to steal, to thieve away from that individual. A person's mind is also gifted by God, so their intellectual property is not something for you to steal, not something for you to think that if you just give them money you have the right to, and openly those people are ill in their minds, who think they have rights to a human being that they really don't have. That is a form of slavery, that is an act of treason in this land, and frankly, the fact that the government is sort of allowing that through law enforcement and others is outlandish. Those men and women will end up in hell, regardless of their orientations, because God does not like how those things are being handled. We can see that across the land, that those who preach hate always end up losing in the end. Those who have to have masterful control will lose in their health care, and that they will become ill, enfeebled, and not be able to see or speak or talk. They'll be riddled with illness is the Lord's privilege to do, to teach them that they are not Lord of life. The Lord of life is the only one who has the right to take a life. And when we talk about right to life, we need to stop talking about unborn fetuses where the soul is not even implemented to the last few seconds before it goes to the birth canal, but we need to talk about the right to life of the living, of adults, of people not to be monkeyed with, not to be messed with, not to be joked about, not to be gossiped about, not to be ruined, not to be electronically monitored, not to be pissed on, not to be put in plays of, we're going to force this person to look like a liar because we don't like their lifestyle. That is not your lordful right. You are not the Lord of this world. You are not the Lord of that human being's life, and that is an international human rights treaty violation, which you are accountable for as a citizen of the United States. In life, we have moments of time to prove to God in heaven who we are. And if you are recognizing that someone is homeless, has no food, and yet you know them personally, you've had a relationship with them at some point in time, and you have not gifted them anything to feed themselves, perhaps you will be liable to the Lord for that starvation that you're causing. That you have a home, that you have family to feed, is not an excuse for not simply saying, hey, would you like a can of protein? I could get you a can of chicken of your choice. You see, $1 can feed a person a simple meal. It's not fulfilling, for sure. $3 can possibly feed a person because at certain places you can get a hamburger and a beverage and a french fry for $3. It's still a better meal than nothing. The truth is a $5 bill or a $6 actually is a great gift because then they can take advantage of those $5 meals that give you plentiful food. Almost overkill, but it's enough to eat right away, or it's enough to save some of it for later, as long as the health conditions of the community in which they're staying in is safe enough for that food to sit for a little while, not all day long, because we know that that's not careful with our particular current foodborne illnesses that can occur. In life, we have moments of time to prove who we are to God. It only costs $1.50 to buy somebody a bagel, but you have to be willing to ask them, would they like one? Second, can they eat one, or are they allergic? And third, what flavor would they like? You see, a loaf of bread is great, but it doesn't last and it grows stale. It's hard for someone to carry because it can get mushed and broken, and that makes it difficult. But producing for someone a can of food, or a can of food and a box of crackers, that produces a meal. Having extra packets of ketchup or of mayonnaise available on a counter allows someone to spice up and spruce up a dry, bland, canned item. You see, we've got lots of organizations across the land that are loving and kind and that want to feed people. They send their loaves, they send their extra bread from their companies to a charity organization that's a non-for-profit downtown, and yet a homeless man will walk in the door and they won't realize that they could give that homeless person a meal, and it wouldn't do anything other than promote their company to the utmost, highest level of marketing in the land. I'm not saying they make a policy of feeding every single homeless person every single day, but for a homeless person who knows how to do it correctly, they should be able to walk into any restaurant and say, I simply need one meal. Would you feed me, please? And that restaurant should be loving and kind enough with its millions of dollars of profit to say, absolutely, here's a $5 meal for you. Here's a meal voucher for you. Select what you choose. There are plenty of retail people who think they have the right to choose the meal for the individual that they want to feed in loving kindness, but even that is sort of a violation of the Lord's laws. You don't know the cellular health of that person, and I've been gifted lots of chocolate things that in some cases I've endured only to have the outcome of its impact on my body later, simply so that I could eat. It wasn't easy to do. It was hard because as an intelligent man, I know I shouldn't be eating that. But there are vile people who don't like my life or my lifestyle or my beliefs or my faith, and they'll put chocolate in something unbeknownst to me, just to harm me. Isn't that a vileness? Something that's an abomination to God? Absolutely. In life, we have moments of time to make a difference for someone, and I record audio casts to try to move people to understand that curing homelessness, helping the impoverished, and feeding people is really the priority over anything else. And what's utterly amazing to me is that I have my own siblings who have houses, who have families, who have pets, and they still prefer to feed their pet, their dog, their cat, their chickens, their roosters, their goats, over allowing me the right and dignity to eat a meal with my own loving mother. In life, we have moments of time to prove who we are in the house of God. Today may be your day. If you get that inkling of talking to someone, ask the right questions first. Don't presume to take control in their life. Don't assume that they're starving. Simply ask a loving question. It looks like you might be a person in traveling mode. Have you had a chance to have a meal today? And if you haven't, would you allow me to sit with you and enjoy a meal together to get to know one another? That's the greatest kindness you can do, and no offense, but your job can take it and leave it if they wish. But the truth is, 20 minutes to eat with someone is not such an imposition in front of the house of God, the Lord in heaven, looking down on you going, okay, you've seen a guy, you've seen he's homeless. What dollar will you give up so that in the future, in your moment of time of loss or need or recovery, someone else will give to you? You see, the pay it forward is something that really works more than just in films. But the people who are truly blessed, truly humbled by the gifts that they're given, always want to give back to the community. It's only the selfish cretins who have lost their souls because of other people's impact on their lives that don't want to give back to someone who does something loving and kind. These are the laws of the Lord. If in your life you know of someone who's homeless, you know of someone who's impoverished, you know of someone who doesn't have a place to sleep, how hard is it for you, if you've known them well enough in some sort of professional setting, to allow them to sit on your property on a lawn chair, to sleep in a sleeping bag, at least off the ground enough that the rats of the world, the spiders of the world, have a little bit more of a challenge of going up, and they'd probably prefer to stay down in the earth. You see, I can make this as simple as possible. The truth is that there are hundreds of people who are homeless, is true. But there are millions of people who could help, who failed to do so and failed to recognize that they are liable to the Lord for what they know about a person and what they fail to help. In Jesus' name, we go in this world. And if in Jesus' name you get that inkling to help someone, but then some human being talks you out of it, you just put yourself on a shorter trip to the hell that you deserve to go to after you pass away in this life. In the Lord's name, we feed people. In the Lord's name, we love people. In the Lord's name, we do things to try to move people in their souls to get that it's not their life today, but it could be their life tomorrow, and that most people are 2 to 3 paychecks away from homelessness in at-will states that can fire you on the spot for any reason at all, and in a cutthroat business community that is so concerned about their own lives that they're willing to take the lives of others, take opportunities of others, steal opportunities from others so that a person cannot go on in life. that is a vile act, because the Lord expects all human beings to produce a work. It is true, but the Lord also expects all human beings to feed others who are in need. In Jesus' name we go is not the title of my next book, but in God's name